One of the benefits of deploying to SQL Server is that you have all of the security features of SQL Server available to protect the package from unauthorized access or tampering. During installation, you'll need to provide the name of the server and credentials for authenticating with the server where you want to install the integration services packages. You can use either Windows Authentication or SQL Server Authentication, depending on whether the server is configured to authenticate users. Other benefits of installing to SQL Server are that you have a central repository for your packages that you can back up as part of your regular database maintenance schedule. This also allows you to share packages between servers. Not all files will be copied to the database in SQL Server, though. Only packages in the project are copied to the target file system. Other file dependencies are not. This causes a bit of a disconnect between the packages and other files, but may be worth it for the various benefits. You can always secure the dependent files using the Windows security features instead of SQL servers. Now, the default location for file dependencies is the same packages folder where project files end up when deploying to a file location. So this is C Program Files, or x86, Microsoft SQL Server 120 DTS packages if you installed SQL Server 2014 to the default Program Files directory. But you can change the location for dependent files during installation, just like you can when you deploy to the file system. Okay, here I am back in the deployment folder for my deployment project. So here are all the files that are necessary for installing this package. So I'll double click on the manifest file in order to start up the package installation wizard. I'll click Next to move past, and this time I'm going to select the SQL Server deployment. And this is going to install the SSIS packages in SQL Server. And as it notes, package dependencies will be installed in a folder in the file system, the same location where the package is deployed if I were to select the file system deployment. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and validate packages after installation. Always a good idea. Okay, time to move on. Move next. So here's where I need to provide the information about where I want to deploy this package. So I'm going to deploy it to the local server name, but I could enter some other server name for some other server that I have access to over the network. And then I need to provide the credentials to authenticate where I'm going to install these packages. I'm going to use Windows Authentication, but I could use SQL Server Authentication if that's configured on the target server and I have an appropriate account. And then I also need to provide a package path. I'm just going to put it in the root folder, so I'll just put in a / and click on Next. Alright, and then it's prompting me for where it's going to install any dependencies. So I already have a deployment folder in the non-32-bit version of this folder. So I'm going to browse to that location. Microsoft SQL Server 120 for SQL Server 2014, DTS, packages, and deployment. Okay, so that location will work. Click on Next, and it starts the deployment. And once again, that just copied the files. And now I have the opportunity to change the configurations, so I can do that if I want to, but all of those locations still work. So I'll click on Next, and then it validated the package because I asked it to, and everything's successfully validated. And I'll click on Next, and it finishes up and tells me what happened. Okay. And there, again, if I want to, I can go into the log file and see what happened, see any problems that occurred, but it executed successfully, so that's just going to have a record of the successful actions. Okay, so I'll click on Finish, and I'm done with the installation. Now I can go back over to Management Studio and come down here in Stored Packages and drill down into MSDB and see that I have this deployment package that has been installed in the root folder. Now when I define the path, I could have said / some other name, and it would have created a folder here within MSDB. Now one thing to note about this technique, if you installed SQL Server as a named instance, I didn't here, it was the default instance. But if you install it as a named instance, an error may appear when you expand the MSDB folder here. If that occurs, you'll need to edit the msdts server.ini.xml file, which contains metadata about the package store, and you'll need to restart the SQL Server Integration Services service. You can find all the details about this in the SQL Server Books Online topic, Configuring the Integration Services service, and it contains more information about the metadata that's in that msdts server.ini.xml file.